What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino, K-Rino, and getting with y'all on this Friday/Saturday morning. Uh, had a little work to do tonight, so I got off to a late start. I mean, I just ate like an hour ago for the first time today, so I've been pretty busy today. But we're gonna get it in with y'all, man, because there's a lot going on, and I think we need to kind of tune up a little bit, kind of get our minds focused. I'm not gonna act like I'm the focus king, but maybe we can come to some kind of understanding together. So we'll see who shows up on this late night. But whoever shows up, y'all make sure to hit the like button as you come in. If you are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And always, I mean, always have your notifications on because we want to try to build this channel up. And I know people might say, oh man, you got about 60 something thousand. I don't know where them people at. I don't never see all them people. Never. So I would like to build this channel up with people who will be consistent participants um, on a daily basis and when I do these lives. So we'll get right into it, but y'all click the like button as you come in and subscribe to the channel. Tonight's title is Prayer, Preparation, and Prophecy. The three P's, three P's. Um, and the reason why I titled it that is because, you know, 2025 has hit the ground running. 2025 has hit the ground running. Of course, we got a new president in office. Um, Stay tuned for the developments that will surround him. Um, and we have the city of Los Angeles and surrounding areas literally burning to the ground, burning to nothing in the dead of winter. And it continues to burn. And I made a video the other day where I just put it out there, kind of like just tossing up a little alley oop to get y'all's opinions on the reasoning, because there's so many different reasons why people will say that those fires are burning in California. There's so many reasons why people will say that there's blizzard and northern storm advisories, snow and extreme cold advisories throughout parts of the East Coast and really throughout the whole country, from what I've been seeing. And it kind of disappoints me to see people always, not everybody, but some people always attribute these things to either something the government is doing or something that the meteorologists are doing, the scientists are doing. It's always that uh, label of, well, that's them tampering with this. That's them doing it. Oh, somebody set the fire. Oh, somebody did that. And nobody ever, not ever, but not many people, especially those people, if you're an atheist, if you're an evolutionist, if you're a science only person, you're not gonna attribute these things to what I attribute them to, and that is being we are living in the fulfillment of prophecy. Plain and simple. Because the things that we are seeing were already written of. They were already written to happen. Um, and if you don't subscribe to that, you don't have to be subscribed to any particular religion to be able to look at the books and say, well, this does line up. At the very least, you can say, well, man, I'm an atheist, but this does line up. I believe in only science. I believe that science is the only thing that causes all of this, but it does line up. And there's a population of us that I just believe we just don't want to accept that. So we try to find every reason for it to be something else instead of what it really is. America is the dirtiest, low downest, wickedest nation that it has ever been in existence. And it's definitely the dirtiest nation that is currently in existence. And America in scripture goes under several names. You're not going to see the word America. You're not going to see the term United States. But you will see names like Babylon and others that describe this mass that we live on. But you also see in prophecy what is prophesied that the Creator was going to do to this nation, just as He's done to other nations that have come before it. Now, you ain't got to believe it, you ain't got to accept it, but the reality is the reality. And the more unprecedented weather phenomena that we start to witness, I would hope that the more we would start to lean towards an understanding of like, nah, man, this is bigger than something that the government can do. Can an individual start a fire? Yeah. But he would have, in my opinion, I'm no expert, but he or she would have to be a hell of a scientist to be able to start a fire that rages this far out of control. Because I've read somebody say, oh, people are starting those fires. Somebody started those fires. People start fires every day. But for them to rage this out of control, you would have to be a specialist on the conditions that would manifest that kind of activity, widespread, uncontrollable. You got to be a genius. You got to be a pyro specialist, in my opinion. But I put the word prayer on the front of this live because, in my opinion, that should be our first go-to to try to say, oh my God, please don't let us get caught up in this wave. Move us the right ways, move us the ways that we need to be moved to get out of the way, to be moved out of the way. And to pray for the preparation, which is the second word, to be prepared, because it's LA today. It's California today. But anybody who lives in America, if you lived in America long enough, your region of this nation has a calamity, has a consistent pattern of calamities that are typically seasonal. So you see wildfires in California and other parts on the West Coast. You see that. We see that every year. We see that all the time. But now you see the increase. Now you see the extended damage of it. We live down in the South. We live in what's called the Gulf Coast, where you see hurricanes. We have our thing down here. We deal with hurricanes. When it starts getting warm into those summer months, we start focusing on our minds. We start looking at the ocean coming from Africa, the direction of Africa. You start to see those hurricanes come swirling in. And that's what we deal with. On the East Coast, they get a few hurricanes too, because sometimes they don't come into the Gulf. Sometimes they go up the coast and they get hurricanes. In the wintertime, they get extreme cold. They get nor'easters and blizzards and snowstorms and things of that nature. Parts of the Midwest, snowstorms, very cold. Other parts, the Midwest or lower, they get tornadoes. Cali gets earthquakes for the most part, but an earthquake, don't never make the mistake of thinking that an earthquake is just relegated to the West Coast. Primarily, that's where we see them, but the Creator could put an earthquake wherever He chooses to. So I'm saying all this to say that America is a nation that the only nation that I know of, y'all showed me another one, but America has always been the only nation that I know of that has multiple natural weather occurrences all the time and sometimes going on at the same time. I only live in this nation, so I can't speak for what goes on in Canada. I can't speak for what goes on in South America, in Brazil, or in Africa, and in parts of Europe. I can't speak for that. Can't speak for what pops off in Australia, and I know there are parts of the world that get tsunamis and all that, but America gets it all. And to think that it's just can be just credit given to some scientists, I don't give them that much credit because I don't believe they have that much knowledge and expertise. And somebody would have to explain to me why. You know, we know there are some mad scientists in this world. We know that there are some dirty, low down scientists in this world who absolutely experiment with the the lives of the people. But on a big scale, you would have to explain to me what the end game is if somebody did have the power to consistently cast these calamities down. You would have to give me some understanding on that, which is one of the many reasons why I don't subscribe to it. But I could also explain, because somebody's, well, you would have to give me some understanding on why God would want to do it. Well, because America has a history of bloodshed. America has a history of wickedness. America has a from government to from founding fathers to current governments to the people and citizens themselves, which include all of us. America has a history of slavery that they never ever take accountability for. America has a history of unjust wars on nations in order to take their resources. No accountability. America has a history of extreme injustice against the disenfranchised people who were disenfranchised by their own government. Black people, brown people, red people. America has a history of destroying the Native Americans, taking the land, then going to get some slaves to work the land and build up the land and build up the country into what it is. America has a history of racism and police brutality and perversion. The list goes on and on and on. Somebody stop me when they hear me lie. So with all these things being said, it comes to a head at some point where, just keeping it real, the Creator's like, I gotta wipe this place out. And you grew up in the black household. I can't speak for nobody else's household, but if you grew up in the black household and you had a grandma, you heard your grandmother always talk about, we living in the last days, baby. But even in the last days as we would hear them spoken of decades and decades and decades and decades ago, when we were younger, we thought, man, the last days, that means, whew, about 4 days from now, you know. But those days didn't represent actual 24-hour periods. They represented a stretch of time that was not a long time, but it could be a lifetime for some, right? So saying all that, that when you hear about the last days, the last days, the last days, we have been in them back when grandma said we was in them. But what happens is you reach at some point the last of the last days. At some point you get to the last of the last days. So picture a store that's having a sale. Some department stores having this big sale. And we got the big clearance sale going on now, starting today. That sale ain't gonna last forever. You know, they might run it for a couple of weeks. They might run it for 2 or 3 weeks. Is the sale still going on? Yeah, the sale's still going on. But at some point, they're gonna say, we got 1 week left in the sale. You only got a few days. You only got a few days to capitalize on these deals. Come on in. We've all heard it. And then you go in there one day and say, oh man, you lucky. The sale ends tomorrow. So at some point it ends. And at some point, a lot of the things that we see that we kind of get used to, they start to ramp up. So these fires that we see in California, I don't know the history. Maybe somebody could help me. Maybe somebody in Cali can help me. Has it ever been this bad? I could be wrong. But even if I am wrong, even if it has been this bad, the level that it's on is not the norm. It ain't the norm. It's climbing all up into the houses. The celebrity houses are being burnt down. Businesses, schools. Now it's going into the city. I heard Sunset Boulevard was about out of there. So these are just things that we look at and say, wow, this is terrible. But it's the beginning. It's the start of it. Because every area got their calamities. So we've had hurricanes where we live. You've had things where you live. And we don't know what's to come. But we know what's to come. So we know what's to come. We just don't necessarily know, at least I don't know. We don't necessarily know how it's gonna come. So that's where preparation comes in. That's when it reaches a point where it's time to start having things in place in your home that can sustain you and protect you when this thing totally crumbles. Because the truth of the matter is, family, one day the world that we know is not going to be like we know it. The world where you get up early in the morning, go to the gym and work out a little bit before you go to work, go to lunch with your coworkers, get off work, stop by the store real quick, come home, go out to eat, go catch a movie, go on a date, go hang out, go play basketball, go to the movie. Those days, it's not going to be like that right here in America one day. One day, we're not going to be able to do all that. because this thing gonna be shut down. And when I say shut down, I don't mean necessarily a government shutdown. I mean a God shutdown. Like everything is gonna be just shut down to where you're not gonna be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. Can't go nowhere because ain't nowhere to go. Ain't no stores to go to. They ain't open. They down. Ain't no movies to go to. Can't go to the gym. Can't go to work. Ain't no work. The economy is collapsed. It ain't. There's nothing. It's nothing to do. It's chaos. So you find yourself in a position. We find ourselves in positions where we gotta bear down at the crib for a little while, and you better have some stuff in there to sustain you and your family when that time comes. And you're not able to move around. It won't be no, well, let's go to Kroger and pick some things up. You better have been done that. Things that can sustain you, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, for a few months. So that's preparation. Mental preparation as well. Spiritual preparation as well, because there's going to be a certain level of fortitude that you're going to have. There's going to be a certain level of resilience that you're going to have to endure the times that's coming. You got to be mentally and spiritually and physically strong to deal with it, to make it through. So the prayer, the preparation, all because we are fulfilling the prophecy. This is all predicted to come. Pestilence was prophesied to come. We've seen that back in 2020. That was a pestilence. The C word. One thing that was prophesied to happen right here in America that we have not seen yet is famine. Do we know what famine is? Do we know what famine is? We've never seen famine in America. Are there people who are hungry and famished and have no food? Yeah, we know. There are food deserts in America. Is there food shortages and people who are lacking food, families, poor families? Yeah. But what about the people who got money, who've always had food, who are not lacking in resources that can get them food if they were around the food? Then all of a sudden, there is no food to get. So it won't matter how much money you got. It won't matter if you, well, wait a minute, I'm millionaire John Buckingham, and I demand that. No, you ain't no different from the rest of us, John. So what happens then when a whole nation? See, when we was little, we used to see the Ethiopian children on TV. We used to see them with their ribs showing. They were so hungry, their ribs were showing. Their bones were pronounced in their faces. Their bellies were swollen not because they were full, but because they had gone without food so long, it created that condition. And you say, man, Ethiopians, man, they were dealing with famine, to my knowledge. Like, man, what's this whole nation? What's going on? And we could never picture that. Some of us still can't. We never could picture nothing like that happening over here in America. We was like, man, this is America. People will say that to this day. There are still delusional people, delusional citizens of this country who will say to this day, well, this is America. This is the greatest nation of all. That could never happen in the United States of America. And partly they feel that way, partly because their mind is set up to where it's like God favors America. He don't favor them over there. He favors America. So he would never let this. Well, you're partly right. He spared America, and he's given America some grace for a long time. But it ain't out of no love for America. Because we just we just laid out the laundry list of things that this nation was built on, and ain't none of them good. So to think that famine couldn't hit your beloved America, that's a big mistake. It's a big mistake. And if we are paying just the slightest attention, because I'm not going to act like I'm just tuned in to CNN and always watching and seeing. No, but if you just are paying the slightest amount of attention, you'll see things at work and things in place that are in not necessarily the long run, but in the near future, going to affect and eventually wreck this U.S. economy. The U.S. dollar already has very little value to it, if any at all. It's practically worthless. Other nations around the world are abandoning the US dollar for other forms of currency. They're uniting economically. And all of these things, in my opinion, are playing a role in the eventual future demise of the US economy. And when you factor in the imminence of war, because one thing about America loves some war. America love going to war. Love going to war. War is like drugs, boy. We got to go to war because these nations have things we want, and the way to get them is not through diplomacy, not through fair trade, not through honor. It's through taking it. We going Jack move. Street military, Jack move. Don't lose your life. Jack move. Don't lose your life. Street military. And war costs money. So war is an investment that the United States have always been more than happy to participate in, because the return on their investment, meaning all of the money that they will put out in order to to go to war, because like I say, war costs money. The return on their investment in their mind is whatever that goal we were seeking to accomplish, whatever those resources, whatever that end game was that we had in mind before we started this, it will reap the benefits that are necessary to that, in our mind, makes this war worth it. Whether the war itself was justified or not, which in the case of the United States is usually not. Trying to think of some wars that the United States had that you could look at and say, well, yeah, they had to do what they had to do. I mean, maybe they felt like all of them. Civil War, uh, I guess British American War, what's that, the Revolutionary War? They were fighting for their independence. They said, okay, well, that was a good, just cause. We had to do what we had to do. We had to break free from the British. Then you get into World War One, World War Two, Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm. I might be skipping. Desert Storm 2, Desert Storm 2, the sequel. Baby Bush, finishing what his father started. In theaters now. But America has, just in my lifetime, America done been in a whole lot of wars, man. But something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that stuck with me for a long time. He said, um, America's power will be broken through war. And I'm paraphrasing it a little bit. If I say something wrong, I say something wrong, I would love to somebody who knows to correct me. But he said that America's power will be broken through war. America got one more big war coming, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He ain't been wrong yet, so I don't really have issues quoting or mentioning something that America got one more big war coming. And the reason I say one more is not because it's going to be one more war and then, okay, America's going to finally have this war that's going to get everything straight, and then there'll be no more need for, no, it ain't like that. The next war that America enters into is going to be the last one. It's going to be it. So that's what I mean when there'll be no more. And it's going to break America. You know how you see somebody at the poker table and they go all in? They got their hand in their hand, they got their cards in their hand. They feel like they got a pretty good hand. They think they got a pretty good hand. They looking like, yeah, you know what, I'm going all in. They think they got it. And then they blah, blah. They sit back, and then somebody across the table go, it's a good hand. But blah, blah, blah. And they rake it all in. You didn't see it coming. Thought you had it. And that's it. And it broke them. Yep, I'm broke. I have nothing else. All of America's industries, corporations, factories, everything that is the norm to us, it's gonna be gone. So this on my heart. I'll be out of pocket if I don't tell y'all. It's gonna be gone. So we see what's happening in California, but America is a pretty big landmass. So if you look at a landmass that is the landmass that is America, you're talking 3,000 miles from one coast to the next coast, 2,000 miles vertical, 3,000 horizontal, 2,000 vertical. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big landmass. So it's easy for us to see on TV or on the internet what already probably feels like an apocalyptic type of situation in California. Because just imagine wherever you live right now, and the local and national news is covering and saying there's fires raging out of control that the fire departments can't gain control of, the helicopters and planes flying over they can't gain control of, and these fires are spreading and they're coming into the city. So you're seeing homes burning on TV. Now you in this city. So now you're like, God, man, I'm in. Oh, I work over there. I pass by there every day. Wow, that's burned out. That's gone. And it's raging and it's spreading. So now they're saying, okay, now it's starting to go into the city. It could be coming to your neighborhood like the doggone the boogeyman or something, like Jason. So imagine what those people are thinking right now. But my point is, when I'm talking about how big this landmass is, we are wherever we are. And we just still living life as usual. Many of y'all got up and, like I say, went to work. You're supposed to go to work. So y'all went to the gym, had fun, had dinner, went to the movies, went on a date. All these different things that we're all doing because it ain't at our doorstep just yet. But them people are going through it right now. Fire. I can remember when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston. See them H's? Hurricane Harvey hit Houston. And it just wouldn't stop raining. It wouldn't stop raining. And, or it appeared to not stop raining. I guess it wouldn't stop raining, but what the issue was with Harvey was that it was such a slow moving storm that if this is the storm and it's coming through through the area wherever it's hitting, sometimes the storm may be going certain rough miles an hour to where, okay, it's getting on up out of here. It's passing on through. Like, whoo, it's good. It's gonna do damage as it's passing through, but it's gone. Harvey was kind of like, it was playing the Jeopardy music. It was then it would stop, and it's like, man, so it's dumping all this water, it's dumping all this rain. And at one point they said it went back to the water. Harvey went back into the Gulf like it forgot his keys. Powered back up, because that's where they get the strength from, the warm water, and came back. So it dumped X amount of trillions and trillions of gallons of water. And we was like, man, this thing ain't gonna never pass through. And that was water. This is fire. And the Most High has a way of making you question what's worse. He said, what's worse? Would it be worse to be in a flood, or would it be worse to be in a fire situation like they're dealing with in LA? And the truth of the matter is, in my opinion, it is no worse. It's whatever extreme that God chooses to take it to, because he can make the flood seem like the worst thing ever, or he can make the fire seem like the worst. He can make the wind feel like, he can make the earthquake feel like the worst thing. Whatever he chooses to do. But we in Mississippi, ain't our problem. We in Arkansas. Oh, we in Utah. Oh, we in, not our problem. But they canceling basketball games. They canceling sporting events. They canceling anything, shows and things that go along, that are going on in this area, because they living in hell. That's a living hell for real out there. So if it's not your turn yet, it would be foolish to not prepare for the time when your turn comes. Not your turn yet. But we just looking, we might flip and see, oh man, it's still burning out there. Y'all ready to go to the club? Instead of thinking, man, we better start preparing for whatever may come to our area. Because whether you like it or not, whether you are Christian, Muslim, Jew, atheist, evolutionist, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, whatever you are, whether you like it or not, this nation, if you're in America, this nation is on the target list to be destroyed, to be made an example out of. You ain't got to believe it. Of course you don't have to. Of course some people are not going to believe it, because it's saying in the book that some people ain't going to believe it. So that's a natural thing. It's not my place to argue with somebody who wants to keep giving the credit to this type of stuff to the government, to HARP. Not my place to argue with that. You deal with that, because sooner or later you're going to see, y'all give HARP way too much credit. And any other entities that are supposedly government run, that control weather patterns. They can spray some chemtrails. They can do some little stuff here and there. They got a little juice to do some stuff here and there, but they ain't got that kind of power, man. Y'all giving them too much credit. And a lot of y'all extreme conspiracy theorists, because I don't have a problem with you being a conspiracy theorist personally, because we all are to a degree, or initially we may be conspiracy theorists until we can confirm the actual reality of the conspiracy. Then it's no longer a theory no more. It's like, okay, we know this actual conspiracy has been confirmed. But some people are so extreme in their role as a conspiracy theorist that every single thing, your explanation to it is, well, it's a psyop. Well, it's HARP. Well, it's MK Ultra. It's always something. It's never God. It's always something. Well, see, they're trying to do it. Why? They ain't got that kind of power. Whoever they is, they don't have that kind of power. Only person got that kind of power is God himself. Power over you, power over me, power over your lights, power over your roof on your house, power over that lake in your backyard that it can make flood and come into your house. And you're gonna make the mistake of steadily saying it's them, and you're not gonna be ready when it hits so hard that you're gonna know it ain't no them. And that's just the reality of it. So we better pray, prepare, and read prophecy. It's right there. And I ain't telling you to read it to try to make you convert to something, to convert to no religion or nothing like that. I'm not the pastor. I'm not the preacher. I'm not the minister. I'm not the reverend. I ain't none of that, dude. I'm just like y'all. I'm a regular dude. Just like y'all. But I'm saying it would be wise to look at it and consider the possibility that maybe there's something to this. It would be wise to just step outside of your normal realm of activity, physical and mental activity, because there's a physical routine that we all carry out every day, but there's a mental routine, a pattern of thoughts that we carry out every day as well. It would be wise to step outside of that pattern of thoughts and just look at the world. Start right here in the United States and just look, like, write down a checklist of as many categories as you can think of, and then ask yourself, what is the condition of each one of these things on my checklist? What are the conditions of the economy? Bad. What are the conditions of race relations? Bad, terrible. What are the conditions of marriage, male-female relationships? Bad. What are the conditions of the foods and liquids that we consume and we eat and drink on a day? What are the conditions of those things? Terrible. What are the conditions of the people's health? Just on a big scale. What are the conditions of the people? Bad. What am I forgetting? Give me a category. Give me a category, y'all. The point I'm making is, what are the conditions of the entertainment that we consume? TV, movies, music. Ratio. It's a lot of good in it. But for the most part, ain't too good. So these are things that we got to step outside and say, man, hold on, wait a minute. We living in a messed up world. Every category is jacked up. Every single category. And I'm forgetting some of them. I'm probably forgetting some really important ones. So that being said, what do you do? Why do we continue to play and act like nothing's going on when you see something going on? And we treat those type of situations the same way. Oh, what about our government? Bad. What about our police forces? Bad. But we live with this, as long as it ain't at my doorstep type of mentality. So we can look and say, ooh, prayers for California. As long as it don't come to my door. But ain't no door going to escape, man. So prayer and preparation based on knowing that we are in prophecy, that's what we need to be focused on, man. Prayer and preparation. Don't pray and then just, well, let's just sit around now. I'm good. God help those who help themselves. I'm not gonna go backwards in comments. I'm just gonna start from where I'm at. Is that ATX screwhead? People think it can't be them when it's their next door neighbor. Bro, do you know how profound that statement you just made was? You said people think that it can't be them when it's their next door neighbor, meaning that it's right next to you and you still don't think it can just hop right over to your door. Absolute truth. Is that Trevenid K? Trevin, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. The war isn't physical, it's spiritual. Yeah, it's a spiritual war. It's on a spiritual level. It can get physical. What I'm saying to y'all, man, is don't sleep in this time. Don't get to slacking and sleeping. Don't fall off. Don't fall for even media that may try to lead us into thinking that everything's all right. And they are not doing that with these fires. They not sugarcoating it at all. They're like, this is like bad. They're saying it. that's just the first thing. The the evil men who rule this world, they make war with military weaponry. That's what they make war. They drop bombs. They uh, blow up cities and villages. They assassinate other leaders. They put boots on the ground with militarized artillery, hand grenades. God makes war with his weather. That's why Mr. Farrakhan is always saying, watch the weather, watch the weather, watch the weather, because he's letting us know that God is moving, God is acting upon this thing through his weather. God makes war with his weather because, as the minister said, there's no, look, there's no weapon formed, but there's no man-made weaponry that can withstand the right storm. There's no militarized base that can withstand the right earthquake that can reduce it to rubble. See? It's a joke that they build all this stuff and they think that they can, go to war. And they know they can't go to war with the God himself, but they'll try to go to war with God's people, because these wars that I'm talking about I'm not just talking about something going on overseas, because now they use militarized weaponry against black people, against citizens in the United States. They can't keep getting away with that. So it's a war right here. They even give us a few of those weapons so we can help do the job and kill ourselves with them. The silencer says, I'm personally an atheist. However, that doesn't matter. I'm just chilling. Well, like I said earlier, and I ran off the list. I don't know if you was around, but it don't matter what you are. There's a scripture that says, every knee must bow, every tongue must confess. So it don't matter what you are, what you profess to be, what you call yourself. It's not going to stop you from seeing what's coming. Now, even when you see what's coming, you might still say, well, hey, you might be like somebody that, well, this is just by chance, or this is just the government doing it, the scientists, HARP. But whether you believe it or not, you're going to see it. You keep waking up. And when you see it, at the very least, you will have to bear witness that, whoa, just like I said at the very beginning, I said in so many words, you could be an atheist, but I would challenge even an atheist to just thumb through the scriptures and not be able to match what's written with what's happening. To at least acknowledge that. It's like, wow, okay, I'm an atheist, but And this show is lining up. And then after that, hey, you do you. Hey, man, y'all hit that like button, man. I know I jumped on here late tonight. I know I did. I'm not going to even try to push for no likes and no 100 likes and all that tonight. But I told y'all my OCD be bothering me. So when I see the numbers are disproportionate, it messes with my mind. Tommy says, I am my own government. If it's to be, it's up to me. To a degree. Because I understand what you're saying. Yeah, because we got to, doing for self is what is the foundation of what we stand on, or what we should stand on. Let me say that. But there are certain things that will still be attempted to be imposed upon us. So yeah, you are your own government. But even if you're your own government, make sure that the laws that construct your government are from the creator. You can run your government, but make sure them laws are his. All right, man. A lot of people don't read. And some people that do read, no, a lot of people don't read. And some people that may read don't have understanding. And that's unfortunate. Drop y'all locations, man. I tell y'all we're gonna hold y'all on. Drop y'all locations. The prophecies are already unfolding. I can't pronounce. I'm not gonna. Is that Lakey Daily? The prophecies are already unfolding. Like I say, people read, but they don't see. They don't understand. The prophecies are already unfolding. It's like you reading a newspaper that came out before the news happened. But like I said earlier, it's also written, paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing. It's also written that people would not get it. So that's okay. Because it's written that people just not going to get it. And people will lean towards their own understanding. So it said, lean not to your own understanding, which means that you're going to fix it up in your mind the way you want it to be. That's cool. But when the day comes when you realize it's not how you wanted it to be or made it up to be, then you deal with that. But we got some new names in here, man. I love when I see the new names, man. I love when I see the new names. And I love to see my old school name, my OGs now. I ain't gonna never sleep on my OGs. Mitchie says, once you do the math, you know damn well the system can't last. Okay, where are we at? Mark Fenton, you in Adelaide? Mark Finn, was you in Adelaide when I came out there many years ago? Dark Mist is in New York City. Memphis Mix, Austin, Texas. V. Morales in Texas. Miss Lady Sample, Northern Wisconsin. Memphis Mix, I'm coming. I'm gonna be out that way at the end of the month. Memphis Mix. Blessings to y'all, man. Hold on. I lost y'all. Ben Brown in Australia. Yamaya and Legba for Eternity, North Carolina. ATX Screwhead, Austin, Texas. I see you. ATX Screwhead. Memphis Mix. I think I still got your email address. Screwhead, send me an email. I just put my email in the thing. Send me an email. Tommy No Hooks is in Eagle Mountain, Utah. Lord Brahma, so happy to be here during the final experiment madness. What final experiment? You mean, what you mean? There is a thing called a final experiment, but that's for these dummies who think the earth is flat. Let me see. Kevin Rob, what's up, Kevo? Out there in Louisville. I see you. JC said there was a book that was removed from the Catholic Church called Two Esdras in the Apocrypha, which goes into Babylon's prophecy in detail. Check that out, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate the information. Yeah, you know, a lot of the books of the Bible were removed. A lot of the scriptures have been removed or tampered or changed. It's still enough in there to line up with what we're going through right now, to what we're seeing right now. But there was so much, like you said, in other books, from what I've heard. I'm not going to act like I read those books, but there's a lot of stuff that was taken out, that was left out. See? Landon is in Little Rock. The homie Jimmy is in Anniston. You missed me when I came to Adelaide, but do you remember? Was you around then? See? Quantum Supply. That's a new name. Kansas City, Missouri. Lakey Daly is in Columbus, Ohio. Man, Columbus be representing so hard. I gotta come to Columbus. Man. I gotta line something up to come do a show in Columbus, Ohio. Cause y'all be showing me some love out there. Y'all be showing me so much love, man. Gotta come to Columbus. I see you, Michelle. All right, is that it? Did I miss somebody? Jovan. What's that? Zephyr Hills, Florida. Okay, I got it. I put it together. All right, man. I hope y'all were able to get something out of what I said, man. Just raise your antennas up. Y'all raise y'all antennas up as we all are trying to raise our own up and keep ours up and get better. None of us are perfect. All of us are just feeling our way out through this thing, learning what we can learn. But my best advice: stay as focused on the Creator as you can. Stay as focused on God as you can, and don't get driven so far into the distractions of the world, because it's real easy for them to put us back like Steph Curry do, put us back to sleep. You know, I'm trying to come to Utah, man. I'm trying to come everywhere, y'all. I promise I am. Blessing to everybody in Cali. Gary's in Glasgow. Much love. You never miss the stream. You might just miss it live, but you can always just rewind it back and watch it. Because I'm about to get off. I'm not going to even have y'all on here hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm about to get off. But before I go, hold on. Let me make sure I tell y'all to do this. Subscribe to the Underground Dialogue podcast and go watch the recent episodes. If y'all didn't know I had a podcast, I know it's a lot of new people on here. The Underground Dialogue podcast is where you see the interviews, the commentary, stuff like we talk about tonight. That's on my podcast, the Underground Dialogue podcast with my brother Keisto. For all my sports fans out there, we have a sports podcast called Legends 34. Y'all make sure that y'all subscribe to that as well. Legends 34. Now, let me give you the game on our sports podcast, y'all, because some of y'all are out of town. I saw somebody just shoot that slug about how bad Texas got whooped. Yeah. Ever since Vince Young, we always find a way to lose the big game we need to win. I hate to say that, you know. Landon, thank you, man. But and last but not least, but y'all go subscribe to the podcast, man, and become regular watchers of the podcast, bro. But last but not least, man, for those of y'all who don't have much of my music is on all the platforms. Working on a new album right now that I hope to have out late next month. So y'all stay tuned. I got over 50 projects for those who you might have just been caught up on me last year, 2 years, 5 years, 2 months. But go on all the platforms and get you some K-Rino music today. And that's what it is, man. I'll catch y'all later on, man. Peace and hair grease. One love.